What's your name? What's your name? Dad, I'm talking to you. What's your name?
Hi, my name is Maury Lenton.
Okay. Allie?
Hi, Miss Ellie.
Okay. That's Joanna. That's Austin. I'm Chris. Go ahead, Alicia.
Okay. Seaworld, the world leader in conservation. Seaworld has gotten a bad reputation due to the movie Blackfish. Most people don't know all of the good that Seaworld does for marine life. Seaworld has saved over 33,000 animals, and the number is growing. On one of my visits to Seaworld Orlando, I went to see the manatees, and behind there is the rehabilitation unit where they had just brought in 4 manatees for cold stress. All of them either had chunks of flesh hanging off of them or missing. Their goal was to rehabilitate them and then release them back into the wild. I want to show you the positive side of Seaworld and all that they do for our oceans. We need to acknowledge both sides of the story of Blackfish Presents. We should be aware of all of Seaworld's efforts to provide education and care for marine life. Imagine if we all do our part in supporting the rescue, rehab, and return of animals. We could see a lot of them saved or kept to heal in an environment where they receive the best care possible. Blackfish claims to be a documentary, but is missing facts and it is one-sided, making it more of a propaganda piece. According to the CNN website, Blackfish ignores all conservation efforts and all of the good SeaWorld does. The movie implies SeaWorld took Tilikum from the ocean when in fact he was rescued by SeaWorld from another aquarium in Canada. The after effects were detrimental to SeaWorld and the protests began. But once the movie was proven untrue and showed many parts were misleading and biased, attendance increased. Tilikum arrived at SeaWorld in 1992 when he was 11 years old. According to the YouTube video Caring for Tilikum, the killer whale, he arrived underweight and with bad teeth. They taught him behaviors that aided in his care. One of them was he was able to blow air into a petri dish, and that's how they discovered the respiratory disease that would eventually kill him. He was given antibiotics and antifungal medicines to help him with symptoms, and it prolonged his life. But in the end, there was no cure. SeaWorld veterinarian Scott Gerhardt states Tilikum would not have survived in the wild with this disease very long. Tilikum did die about 2 years ago at the age of 35. SeaWorld has the largest rescue and rehab program in the world. They've donated millions around the world, including funds for wild orcas. Activists doesn't want SeaWorld to keep animals in captivity, but they also don't want their conservation programs to stop. The only problem is there's not one without the other. They have to have both. According to the Alliance of Marine Mammal Parks and Aquariums website, SeaWorld has rescued 16,425 animals within the last 5 years. These animals include sea turtles, marine mammals, and birds. This alliance has collected over $16.6 million from places like SeaWorld. Their goal is to return all of the animals that they rehabilitate to the wild, but unfortunately some cannot be returned, and they have a safe home with SeaWorld. SeaWorld is monitored by the Alliance of Marine Mammal Parks and Aquariums, the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, and the International Marine Animal Trainers Association. These groups monitor SeaWorld's compliance with the laws for captive animals. These include enclosure sizes, the amount of animals in the enclosures, and food preparation areas. According to the Awesome Ocean website, SeaWorld exceeds these expectations and has never been charged or filed against them for any mistreatment of marine life. The only claims of mistreatment come from activists. According to USA Today 2016, SeaWorld has spent over $50 million to create educational programs for rescue, health, and welfare of marine animals. This money also goes to preventing finning and commercial fishing of whales and seals. We should always look into both sides of the story before passing judgment. SeaWorld is the leader in research for marine animals. Many facilities come to SeaWorld to learn the latest methods of care for marine life. The American Humane Conservation Certificate is the country's first national humane organization and the largest certifier for animal welfare and well-being. There are less than 24 recipients of the certificate, and SeaWorld is among them. The requirements are set by the Scientific Advisory Committee. These lengthy requirements are to ensure every aspect of care is where it should be. They believe animals deserve humane treatment. The strict code is aiding in growing numbers of endangered species. SeaWorld has returned thousands of animals to their natural habitat. According to the SeaWorld.org website, the National Marine Fisheries Service set up requirements for safe returns. The animal must be eating well, maintaining or gaining weight, behaving normally, and must have improving blood values consistent with the wild. SeaWorld covers all the expenses of their animal rescue and rehabilitation program. They spend over $1 million a year on staff, transportation, and facilities. So how can we support a beneficial organization like this? And how is SeaWorld adapting to the changes? SeaWorld has its own conservation program within its parks. And according to the SeaWorld conservation website, you can donate online or you can volunteer for events supporting conservation. You can also attend the SeaWorld parks around the country to help support them. SeaWorld has heard the concerns of many people and has decided to make changes to their parks. SeaWorld has stopped the breeding programs for orcas, but activists are still calling for release of the orcas. In the USA Today 2016, PETA encourages SeaWorld to move their orcas to sea pens to be monitored. This way they will be in their natural habitat. They also call for some orcas to be just released into the wild. SeaWorld is against that because they won't survive for long. SeaWorld has stated they will end the theatrical shows and renovate the stadiums to have a more natural viewing for guests. So in conclusion, we can see that SeaWorld has been a leader in conservation for many years. They have rescued, rehabilitated, and returned thousands of marine animals. They house over 70,000 animals and are exceeding expectations with their care. They have not taken an orca from the wild in over 40 years and have had bad publicity stating the opposite, calling for hatred towards SeaWorld. We need to check the facts before drawing an opinion on what we believe is right. I am pleased with what SeaWorld does for our oceans, and I know they're getting the best care out there, and the trainers love them very much. Thank you.
All right, hold on.
But we got to do there again. Do that
See
again.
them. Austin. There's Joanna.
You got to get more.
Turn it around.
Turn it around.
Turn the funnel off. There you go. Hi, Ellie.
Still there?
Hi. Yeah.
You got Maureen?
Yeah, I got him.
Okay.
Okay, everyone's done.
Okay, bye.